Okay, hello everyone. Laura Woodward-Cavers here at New Canaan Library, and we are having Anna Francese Gass back again for another Cooking with Anna program. Today we are doing the egg dish that is in her Heirloom Kitchen cookbook. Okay, Anna, thank you so much for coming back.
My pleasure. For those of you that came last month, welcome back. For new viewers, welcome. I'm so excited to be with you today. I'm truly enjoying these. I love cooking recipes for my book and teaching others how to do it. So this is a wonderful time for me and hopefully for you. All right, let's jump right in. So today we are traveling to Mexico and we are going to be making huevos divorciados. And what that means is divorced eggs. And the reason that they're divorced is that you're going to create a delicious dish that you can have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I love it for breakfast. And you may have had huevos divorciados, excuse me, huevos rancheros, which has got beans and it's basically fried eggs on a tortilla. This is 2 fried eggs on corn tortillas, but it's a little bit more of a simpler dish, a lighter dish. And the reason it's divorciados, and I'll show you the picture in the book. This is the book, Heirloom Kitchen. The reason that these eggs are divorced, in other words, no longer getting along, is because you're going to make 2 different kinds of salsa. One is going to be covered with salsa verde, which is green salsa, and the other egg is going to be covered with salsa rojo. And the reason this is so fun is because you're kind of giving your taste buds a fun little trip, you know, because you're having one egg that's covered in a delicious red sauce, and then you're having another egg covered in a green sauce. So it's a really fun dish. It's hearty. You can customize it. I'm going to show you different toppings that we can do, but pretty simple. And once you make these 2 salsas, you're going to have a hard time buying jarred salsa again because they're so easy and they're so delicious. Now, in the interest of time, I'm only going to show you how to make one, but the process is the same for both. It's just a question of what kind of tomato you're using. So first I want to talk about the salsa verde. Salsa verde is made with tomatillos. Tomatillos is a green tomato. It's a Mexican tomato. These do originate from Mexico, and they are covered, if you can see, in a husk, a green husk that you simply have to pull off, just like that. Comes right off very simply. Believe it or not, I get these at Walter Stewart's and they always have them. So I don't want you to think that this is some strange ingredient that you can't find. I don't think they have them at Acme, but I've really never looked just because I know Walter Stewart's has them and they are there. So that's that. So all you're going to do is buy 10 of those and you're going to get them in some cold water and boil them. And all you're doing is cooking the tomatillo. Mexicans are known to eat them raw. I've never eaten them raw, but if you go to a Mexican restaurant and you have any sort of green sauce, like enchiladas, you know, they put the salsa verde on the table. If you see any sort of green dish, there's probably tomatillos in it. Let me show you what they look like when they're done. So after about 15 minutes, they are going to get very soft and they're going to start to split. And then you know they're ready. See? So they're just really soft and they split, very similar to just a regular red tomato. So you're not really doing anything much different here. But you're boiling it to cook it. Once it's cooked, and the reason the book says 4 cups of water is just because you do want them to be just covered. Just as if you were making potatoes, you want the water right to cover them so that they cook through in the pot. So once that's done, that's going to go in a blender. And believe it or not, this entire recipe, except for the onions, gets made in the blender. So it's super duper simple. So I have, in case anyone has any questions, I usually get a lot of questions about this blender because it's pretty high tech. It's a Vitamix. It's definitely one of your more expensive blenders on the market, but I love it. I mean, it just, I say to my husband, I could probably grind nails in this thing. It's very strong. So I'm just going to take these tomatillos, believe it, everything. You're not doing anything. You peeled off the husk in the beginning. That's all you do. So seeds, core, everything. And you'll notice, and maybe you haven't noticed yet, but when you go to a Mexican restaurant, or you can actually buy this salsa in the grocery store. It's right next to the regular salsa, and there's a ton of brands. I was in Walter Stewart's this morning just because I wanted to see. I think they had at least 3 brands of salsa verde. So if you don't want to venture and make your own salsas, you could literally buy a red salsa, buy a green salsa, and still make this dish. You're just frying some eggs. So in my blender, I have my tomatillos. They're going to go in. The next thing that I'm going to want to put in is a whole bunch of garlic. It actually has 4 cloves. Now, if you don't really like garlic, or you can't have too much garlic, you can omit it. But for a traditional salsa verde, this gives a ton of flavor. So these are going to go in. 4 cloves peeled. Then we're going to do some salt. Now, again, salt is always to taste as you enjoy. But we found when I cooked this with Janet, because we made this together, and that's really what my book is all about. I went around the country cooking with immigrant grandmothers. Janet was the immigrant from Mexico that I cooked with. We thought that 3 teaspoons was kind of right on target. So that's going to go in. Then what we're going to do is add cilantro, which is really a huge part of Mexican cooking anyway. Cilantro goes in everything, guacamole. I always say Mexican cilantro is like the basil to Italians, like it's their go-to herb. So I'm going to add actually a whole bunch. And this is really going to brighten this up and make it a really fresh. And the other thing is the tomato also is very acidic. So this is a very like bright salsa. Vinegary almost, even though there's no vinegar in it. So that's going to go in. Now, the other thing that's going to go in is optional, and that is a serrano pepper or a jalapeno. I will tell you, I have small children in this house, so I usually make 2 batches, one for my husband and me, and one for my kids, because they do not like any sort of spice. So I'm going to make it without, but feel free to make this as devilish as you want. That it's your salsa, so do what's right for you. Another really fun tip, and I know I'm going a little bit off script right now, but I've also added an avocado to this. And when you add an avocado to this, it gets really thick, and I am telling you, it is such a delicious dip. But that's a total diversion. Just wanted to throw it out there. If you just want to pop in an avocado in here, you're going to have a whole different texture and a whole different kind of dip. Thicker and delicious. All right, so that's going to go in. I'm going to get this going over here. I didn't even realize I had my stove on here. I got my little burners up here just so we could do everything up front and face forward. So put my cilantro out of the way. We're going to need our eggs. If anyone has any questions, just shout them out. I'm just kind of shifting things over so that you can see. So I have everything I need in here. Now I'm going to blend it. If I can find my top, it's right here. So this is going to go in. Excuse the noise. All right, so as you can see, this is super watery, which, as you know, with a salsa, you don't want something super watery, but it is a thin salsa. So if you think of those like jarred salsas where they say chunky style, that's not what this is. It's very liquidy. Even when you dip a chip in it, it's just basically going to coat the chip, but it's perfect for the eggs because it's not really heavy on top. It's more just like a very finishing light sauce, and it's perfect. Now, to kind of bring up this salsa and amp it up, you're going to use some onion, which is another main part of Mexican cooking. I very much relate. As an Italian, garlic and onion kind of go in everything that we cook. So I'm going to take an onion. Oh, hold on one second. I was chatting with Laura earlier. I am new to these the earpod world. And unfortunately, I have those kind of ears that don't really like them. I need bigger earlobes, or not lobes, something. I need bigger ears. So excuse me if they slip every once in a while. All right. Oh, and another thing I wanted to show everybody, and I didn't do it ahead of time, which is why I've noticed that my board is slipping. Just a really quick chef's tip. I learned this in culinary school. It really changed my life. And I noticed right away that I hadn't done it yet because I wanted to show you all, because I noticed my board was slipping. So if you notice when you are using a cutting board, sometimes it can shift and move as you're cutting. That's actually super dangerous and can lead to cutting your finger. if you move the board out of the way for a second, and you just take a paper towel and get it nice and damp, okay, nice and wet, and put that down, just like that. Then you put your board on top. It doesn't move. It's like glued to the countertop. And I just share that with you because it's just one of those little hacks I learned a long time ago that I carried with me. Because, you know, the reality is when you first buy a cutting board, it's nice and flat, but you know, as it gets older, as you wash it, it warps. So putting that paper towel underneath, or like even just a wet rag, something thin, it just really secures it in place. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, peel up my onion and get this going. Now, as I told you, there's two salsas here. The salsa rojo, I actually made ahead of time. As you can see, same thing, very, very thin, very, very simple. It's exactly the same process as the tomatillo salsa, but the best part is you don't even have to cook the tomatoes first. They just go cord and go right in. So it's even an easier process, but the same process after that step. So I'm just gonna get my onion going. And you know, you're gonna wanna cut it pretty small because the onion does not go in the blender. So because of that, you don't want really big chunks of onion in your salsa. So I cut it nice and small, you know, so that I know that when it gets into the sauce, it's not going to overpower the rest of the dish. I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see. I have my
Anna, I just have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So I was watching you chop the onions, and it's exactly how I chop the onions. And yet when I think of chefs, they do that kind of cutting, and that, you know, you're not a chef if you don't do that or something. And I don't understand how they do it, how they get so, but I'm so glad to see you cook, just like do it nice and slow.
I do actually, I do value my fingertips. And I've always prided myself, even in culinary school, so many people ended up cutting fingers and I never did. I'm actually more likely to burn myself than to cut myself because I get distracted and I like grab a hot pan. But no, I mean, I absolutely can chop quickly. I think, you know, if you're a chef and you're in the kitchen every single day cooking, you're going to get good at it. And they're also doing high yield, so they need to move quickly. At home, I don't think you need to do that. I think you need to be careful. I always make sure my knife is very sharp because a dull knife is actually more dangerous. Like my little trick with the cutting board, anything I do to keep my digits intact.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
also keep it nice and slow and enjoy the moment.
Exactly. Now we're going to cook.
I'll be quiet.
No, not at all. Thank you so much. So we're going to cook up these onions, and that's going to add another depth of flavor, and it's just going to make it that much more delicious. Now, I told Laura about this. I'm actually the executive chef for this olive oil company, Costa Rica. Not a plug, but very good olive oil, and they have flavored olive oils. So they have a garlic one. Totally, you can use regular olive oil here or any sort of neutral oil, doesn't matter. I just like using the garlic because it amps up the flavor. And there's all kinds of different oils you can do. They are actually doing a bundle with my book for Mother's Day. So kind of a nice present for your mom. My book, garlic olive oil, regular olive oil, and their balsamic vinegar. Just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, their flavored olive oils are really good. The other one is the lemon thyme, lemon herb, and I love that too. All right, these are going in. And you're not even looking to get any color on these. All you're looking for is for these onions to be nice and translucent. So what that does is it just softens it so that when it goes in with the tomatillo, it's adding flavor, it's adding a nice little mouthfeel, but it's not overpowering the dish. Now, while those onions are softening, we can go ahead and get the rest of the dish done. And believe it, we're almost done. So I'm going to take another pan and I am going to start frying up my corn tortillas. Now, as far as the tortillas, as you saw in the picture, it's 2 tortillas. the 2 eggs, the 2 salsas on top. If you don't like corn, you can absolutely sub flour tortillas, whatever you want to do. The one thing that I really like to do is I like to kind of crisp them up in the pan first. I already have a pan out to fry my eggs, so why not get these a little bit, you know, crispy, crunchy on the outside. You don't have to do it. A lot of times when you go out to eat and they give you a corn tortilla taco, they don't bother, but I kind of like adding a little crisp, but that's totally up to you. So we're crisping those. We have our onions here. Now, the onions are nice and soft. So we do not have to worry about this getting dark or overpowering our dish. Final step of the tomatillo salsa is we're going to cook it up with the onion. All it does, it incorporates the flavors. It cooks up all those different ingredients together. I mean, this smells so good. And believe me, you can go run to Walter Stewart's. They have the salsa verde in the jar ready to go, but nothing beats the freshness of this. And I love all that cilantro because it's a lot of cilantro. And I love the cilantro in it because it really just makes it so fresh and also just tastes so homemade. But that's it, folks. That tomatillo salsa is done. This is just going to warm up on the stove. I'm actually going to put it behind me because this little burn over here is not super strong. So we're just going to fry up the corn tortillas, get them nice and, you know, soft. And what's going to happen is they're going to crisp a little bit too. And then we're going to make some eggs and then we're done. So let's get these going back here. We have a quiet group today, Laura. No one's asking any questions.
You're correct. But they're
Okay.
actually, talking about the cutting board tip. They love that. And I just sent out the olive oil bundle. So yeah, no, they are. Oh, wait, here comes something. Here's a Q&A. I just, oh, will you send the recipes? Diana, yes, they're actually on our website. And so they are on the website, but I can send the recipes out to everyone after the show. That is not a problem at all because I will have all the people who are on today, excuse me. I'll have your emails and I'll just send you all the recipes. So that's not.
And if you want to go to annasheirloomkitchen.com, and just, type in Huevos Divorce there. It's on my website.
Oh, there we go.
It's obviously in Heirloom Kitchen, which they have at the bookstore. But the recipe is easy to find. And you printed it out too, right? It's at the
I did. It's at the library. When you walk in, you can pick up a recipe. Actually, all 3 recipes that you're doing during this 3-month cooking period that you're having with us. So they are there as well.
All right. Well, yeah, we're going along. And like we said, we will do Bea's Danish next time. That's a really fun one. Definitely come in next month because, I'm going to teach you how to make a Danish, like those pretty Danishes that you can get at the bakery. They're not as difficult as you think. And the filling options are absolutely endless. I will show you.
Right. And it's how you are braiding it. I've always wondered how, I've tried and mine always turn out terrible.
You're going to be floored at how easy it is.
How to.
You're going to be floored. And what's great about that recipe too is there's room for error. If it doesn't come out perfect after you bake it, and believe me, the taste is what really matters, right? All looks the same in our tummy. All right. So I am going to take off these tortillas. And you can dampen these on a little, wet towel, a dry towel if you want. But see, so I'm already starting to build my dish here. Building my dish. I got my 2 tortillas. Let's talk about frying eggs because people always have questions about frying eggs. So if you have any questions, please shoot them out to me.
I do have another question for you regarding the tomatillos. Can you steam the tomatillos or do they have to be boiled to be softened?
So I'm sure steaming would work fine. The reason that you want to boil them is because when you're making the salsa, if you feel like it's a little bit chunky, you can add up to 2 cups of that cooking liquid in it.
Mhm.
I don't do that just because I like it a little bit.
Oop. Oh. Anna, can you hear us?
All
Okay.
right. Now, my
One
pan
other
is ready.
question. What kind of pan is that? It's so flat.
Yes, that's my first tip here. So this is actually a non-stick crepe pan. And I love it for demos because number one, it's easy for you to see when you can't see the lip of the pan, because we're not in person. So I had to find different ways to be creative. But the other reason I really love it is that whenever someone is flipping an egg, most of the error comes in the fact that when they go in, it gets stuck on the side or whatever. This is a nice flat surface like they have in the diner, right? Because they're cooking on a flat top. So this makes it super easy to flip those eggs. My husband is very particular about his eggs. He has his 2 eggs every morning. And if I crack the yolk, he won't eat it. So I had to get very good at making over easy eggs. So as you can see, because I'm using a flat pan, my eggs have room to groove. I'm going to be able to get in there nice and easy with the spatula, and I'm not going to be dealing with the lip of the pan messing me up along the way. These types of pans also get very, very hot, so because obviously when you're making a crepe, it's a very quick process. So anyway, it's just something I learned along the way. I'm going to turn off my salsa back there. The other thing I like to do is when my eggs are like this, when I haven't flipped them yet, I do add a little bit of salt. And I like my eggs over easy, but people have DM'd me, they have messaged me on Instagram. They've made this dish with scrambled eggs, over easy, sunny side up, whatever you like. I like sunny side up. If it's like farm fresh, like my neighbor will give me eggs sometimes, and that's such a treat. Otherwise, I like mine over easy. Again, this can be done with anything that you like. So these eggs, as you can see, they got a little bit of brown on the bottom. I'm just getting the top a little bit cooked because that's the way I like it. And we're gonna plate this dish. All right. So I got 1 going down. 2 eggs. I got my eggs right there. Now, these eggs don't get along anymore. They're filing papers, they're divorced. So I'm gonna add my red salsa on one. I'm gonna turn around, excuse my back. I'm gonna get my green salsa on the other. Oh my gosh, so good. Now, I really believe in presentation. Even if I'm just cooking for myself, I like for things to look really pretty. So I'm gonna always add a little tiny bit. Let me put this on here so you can see. Little tiny couple sprigs of cilantro. I love cilantro. Cilantro is a funny herb. You either love it or you hate it. And I actually read somewhere that people that dislike cilantro, and if you're out there, please let me know, that the reason that they dislike it is because cilantro for certain people tastes like soap. So obviously we don't want to eat things that taste like soap. And I confirmed this because my dad does not like cilantro. And I said to him one time, why don't you like cilantro? He's like, why would I eat cilantro? It makes everything taste like soap. So I actually was able to confirm that that's true.
Yeah.
The other thing that I love, you don't have to do this, but I love adding a little bit of avocado. I love avocado on my eggs. It's such a great healthy fat to eat. So why not? The other thing I have been known to do with this dish is just sprinkle a whole bunch of cheddar cheese on top, right when the eggs come out of the pan. And it's a little bit more decadent, a little bit heavier, but very, very good. And it reminds me of huevos rancheros, because if you go to Rosie in town, her huevos rancheros is covered in cheese.
So that's cheese, you say cheddar and not Marchengo.
Whatever you want, whatever you
okay.
want. I just always have shredded cheddar in the house. So I'm just gonna cut up this avocado. And I didn't eat breakfast this morning because I knew I was coming on with you folks today. But here we go. Huevos divorciados.
Nice. So yummy.
And we got our 2 sauces. We got our eggs. And like I told you, this is the kind of breakfast that will definitely keep you going all day. And
you can have it at lunchtime. You can also have it at dinner.
100%. I love eggs for dinner. But bright green salad with it. You know, at this point now, I mean, I have the garlic oil. I just drizzle a little oil on top just to finish the dish, and away you go. But it's fun, and I'm telling you, your kids will love it too, because the corn tortilla is nice and crunchy, so it almost has kind of like an egg pizza feel to it, and it's really easy to make. Really easy to make.
After this first show, you're going to become a juggler. With
it's
the
crazy.
Coming out of your ears.
Apple needs to make these for like people with small ears, because it just
They actually do have these like holders. My kids have these holders that they put them in, and when they're out exercising and they stick them, it literally kind of frames your whole ear, and it stays inside.
I'm buying that this afternoon, because I think these have fallen out at least 3 times during this. So I apologize, everybody.
So I want to double check that the pan, that very flat pan, someone had asked, what is the name of it? And I put down French crepe pan, but
okay, it actually does say, I've had this thing forever. It says Olympia. It was made in Italy. If I had to guess, I probably got it at Bed Bath & Beyond. If I had to guess, I've had it.
But I put down that you called it a French crepe pan, but I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, if you go to any kitchen supply store, Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever, they're going to have a flat pan. And I have a couple of them. Because I even use it to make pancakes, because the same thing. I like having room for my wrist twist.
So a question is, the dish right there, the eggs on the tortillas, do you eat it by like a pizza or with fork and knife? Like, do you pick it up and then eat it like that?
I usually cut it, but I'm not in your kitchen with you, so enjoy it any way you want.
And then when I have made the tomatillo sauce in the past, the recipe tells me that it really can only last that day. It's not something that you can put in the fridge, that it won't last that long.
I would keep it up in the fridge for up to a week, and you can freeze it.
You freeze it.
Freezes beautifully.
It probably enhances it also.
I don't know. Mine never lasts that long, but Janet has told me that it freezes beautifully. Let it defrost. You can heat it right back up in the pan to wake it up. Great salsa to have on hand. Great.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fresh tasting. I love tomatillo sauce. Oh my gosh. Well, I wish I were there to just smell it. It looks so good.
I know. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to get off and I'm going to dive into it. So, no, thank you all for coming. Hopefully we built up some anticipation for Bea's Danish next time. I apologize for those that thought it was this week. This is
my fault.
The world of how we're living. You know, we're not meeting in person. Everything is via text, email. It happens. I hope you enjoyed the eggs.
One last question. Should the red sauce be served warm?
Doesn't need to be. Neither of the sauces need to be room temp. I wouldn't serve them cold, just because you're putting them on hot eggs. You don't want to lower the temperature of your meal. But room temp is fine.
Okay, good. And the salsa can be frozen also?
Yes.
Okay. Last time for questions. One more. Oh, someone is just saying thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love this. This really is the best part of my book, is the fact that I get to bring it to life for people doing demos. And please, if you think of a question afterwards, email me, annafgoss@gmail.com. My Instagram is annafgoss. Please check out my Instagram. I am always putting up instructional videos, more recipes, my website, so many different things. So I'm very attainable, and I live right here in New Canaan. There it goes again. I live right here in New Canaan, so you can also stop by.
Great. Anna, thank you so much. Thank you again. I look forward to seeing you next month. I'm going to stay on just a little bit. I'm going to put in your email information. And if people want to, if anyone doesn't know how to save their chat, There's a lot of information on the chat for you. Please just go to down to the right-hand side of your chat box, and you see the little three dots. When you get on those three dots, you click on it, and you can save your chats. There'll be a
also, because this happened last time, Laura, a lot of people emailed me. They did not know that you record these and that they can watch it after.
Exactly. We are recording this. It'll take about 2 or 3 days for it to get up onto our YouTube channel, but it is recording right now, and it will be up in just about 2 or 3 days. Great.
Right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great
so
weekend.
much.
I hope you get some warmer weather ahead.
I know.
Thank you.
Everyone.